jump into this world. Hello everybody and have a good day. My name's Buddha Boy and I'm doing well. I follow my dreams and I travel the world to meet some blessed people now, to play some good shows. I'm not a rapper, no, I'm not an MC. I'm just a soul who wants to break.
Your name is Buddha Boy. I found this name quite interesting. Why you choose your name like Buddha Boy?
My nickname that I use as an artist, pretty much, as an activist, as an artist, as someone who has certain things to say, a certain philosophy, certain vision. You know, basically Buddha Boy, Buddha is something that is a reflection of my vision, a spiritual vision, specifically in my life journey. And boy is just someone who still is coming from the street, you know, someone who was raised on the street, and someone who tries blending street culture of the youth with you know, higher philosophy, pretty much. So I'm just trying to bring positive vibrations and positive thoughts and sane philosophy into the street concept, blending those things together. This is why this nickname clicked for me, Buddha Boy, describing who I am pretty much. Well, my background, you know, like musically, it was a music school. I started in music school. The instrument I was learning was accordion, and so basically I have a classic music background, I would say. Aside from that, you know, my spiritual journey started when I was 16, when I started asking different questions, strange questions for a guy who is 16 years old, when my, you know, other classmates and other people and guys of my age, they were just playing around and having fun. I was reading books and, you know, being an extremely introverted person, to be honest. So I was really on my own with myself, just reading and exploring. And so that's how, because I was growing up without parents, right? I was growing up pretty much on my own when my parents were far away from me. So I guess that was the substitution of their love, you know, that I found in a book. So this is how everything started for me. And you know, when other people had many different things and had, you know, perfect families and, you know, everything seemed so well for them, I didn't have many of those things from the very beginning. So I was kind of left alone, and but because of that, I've become who I am, and because of all those questions that I asked in the right place and in the right time.
Send, receive, repeat again, yeah, post and share, alright. Recoding matrix at the core, now it's our game.
Could you please tell me about your background? I mean, your parents, where have you been born, and your childhood?
I was born in Ukraine. I lived in Ukraine basically until I turned 16. I moved abroad when I turned 16, and so my parents, both of them are Ukrainian as well. We're 100% Ukrainian. They live in Greece for almost 30 years now. 30 years, and they moved at the end of 90s, pretty much. And this is, I immigrated when I was 16. So since then, I've been on my journey, and my life changed completely. So when people ask me where I'm coming from, I have no idea, because, you know, I've lived in different countries, and a couple of years here, a couple of years there, a couple of years somewhere else. So I guess throughout all of those years, I I've accumulated all of this experience and different cultures, absorbing all of those cultures and taking the best of all of them, and I guess forming who I am today, as a friend, as a brother, as as an artist, as Buddha boy, I suppose.
What are you believing? I mean, what are you think about your life?
I believe in unity. I believe in equality. I believe in I believe in energy that is the same for everyone. That energy that is uniting us all and going through all the things. The energy that is called by different names in different world cultures. So I don't want to get into any religion or anything as of now, but there's just one energy. It doesn't matter what is the word we use to call that energy. That's pretty much all that has to be said.
You travel lots, as far I know, like a few different regions in the world, like Asia, and then right now you are in North America, and then you born in Ukraine. That's a totally different world. So could you please tell us about your traveling and then living around the world?
Well, yes, just as you said, was born in Ukraine. I'll start with the fact that, not coming from any rich upbringing, I was coming from, basically based on humble beginnings. This is how my life started. Didn't have too much, my parents were working hard. I had to basically survive and, raise us. And my father left the family when I was 8 years old. So, and basically, all of the things, lots of different things happened in my life, which made me stronger, of course. But traveling, the first travel I had was immigration to Greece, and I lived around 6 years in Greece altogether. Studied there in Christian Academy, an American Christian Academy, and so then 2 years in India, half a year in Africa, now almost 4 years in Canada. So here I am, and this is just the countries I lived in. I'm not even mentioning which countries I traveled, but it doesn't really matter. It's just about experience and just, feeling this unity. I always like traveling for the sake of unity and just experience. Avoiding the beaches and all of those fancy places, but just staying somewhere with, locals and just kind of adjusting and becoming a part of them, culturally. So.
Is God in you? I say namaste to all of you. Yeah, Your Majesty, you set me free.
You born in Ukraine, now you live in a small town in Canada. These all are totally different vibe, like this pretty land. So you have already lots of experience. You had the footprints almost half of the world. Beside that, you are a musician. So could you please tell us why you do music?
Music is my way of living. Is just a way of expressing what I have inside of me, my happiness, my grief, my joy, my observations. When I see injustice, when I see what is going on in the world, being someone who self-reflects on his life, someone who is an observer of life, a traveler in space and time, I cannot just stand aside and pretend, that it has nothing to do with me, because we live in this ecosystem, this world. If we want to make a better living, if we want to improve and have a better world for our kids. I believe music is a major tool that can be used to promote positive messages, unity, peace, and freedom for all, human rights, pretty much. So for me, music is just a way of organically blending my lifestyle, my vision, my spiritual observations, and my life experience, and at the same time reflecting on my position as a citizen, as a citizen of planet Earth, first and foremost.
What is the People's Army?
Originated back in the States by a rapper called Dead Press, but then it had its development in UK, so basically the pioneers of People's Army in UK were Logic and another rapper called Loki. But now People's Army, I believe, it's time when People's Army is beyond United States, is beyond UK. It's something that is a phenomena that will keep growing and, including more and more individuals on a global level. Those who share same values in terms of human rights, protecting human rights. It's not just about musical unity, it's about artistry unity of artists, designers, dancers, painters. If you're any kind of creative, visual, creative videographer, photographer, you can consider yourself as a part of People's Army if you share the human rights vision, equality for all, if you stand against racism, if you hate what is going on in the world in terms of war, if you pretty much, if you're a pacifist, and I'm a pacifist, I'm a person that don't really like what is going on. I don't see any reason for fights because, we have the same blood color running in our veins, no matter, regardless of the background we're coming or the race or the part of the world we're coming from. So basically, this is People's Army, human rights, activism, anti-war activism, unity for all, and the artistic unity that can make a positive change. So there are many of us, we're just carrying that anthem, pretty much.
Here you are, here you stand, dust to ashes, ashes to dust, bittersweet.
Recently, you released a new song named Cold World Remix. I want to know about the song, and then behind it, lots of things happened when you create a new song like that. So, could you please tell us about this?
Well, Cold World Remix, I believe it's a nice track, it turned out really well. Me and the guys from Brazil, Arcanio Ras from Brazil, Logic from UK, People's Army leader, of course, Don Husky, brother from Kingston, and Nature Alice, and who else? Triggerfinger, who is a pioneer of dancehall reggae music in Japan. All of those legends, was just so blessed and and fortunate to work with all of those legends on Cold World track and Cold World Remix specifically. Just amazing track. All of those guys are legends. We share positive messages, and the track consists of separate verses when everyone tells their own story, shares their own pain and reflection on life, pretty much in a couple of sentences. And at the same time, there is a common thread that goes from the intro to outro of the track, combining all of those separate verses together into the same puzzle. So, which is, again, world unity, understanding that, you know, sometimes it could be really cold in this world, even in the hottest places in the world, like Jamaica or Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, right? But at the same time, we understand that, you know, as long as there are brothers standing with us around the world, it's never that cold, you know. We always know that there are others like us on this journey who believe in something better and make efforts to spread that message with us.
How much response you have after releasing this song?
You know, we got some response on social media. Not that much of a response on streaming platforms, but still, I think, you know, the track will still have its time after my album release, because, you know, sometimes it takes time for the track to kick off and start attracting more attention. Well, we already got some attention from the press and media, and so specifically the music video was released on World of Reggae. That is one of the largest reggae platforms in the world, one of the most respected reggae platforms. So it's a huge honor for us, and at the same time, you know, one of the leading newspapers in Jamaica, Jamaican Observer, posted an article about the release in the newspaper, you know, so we were extremely blessed with the results so far.
You are going to release a new album named 33 Glimpses of the Internal. Could you please tell me about the concept of that album?
The concept, well, you see, as Buddha boy, I really like combining frequencies. You know, I don't like masking things or hiding or pretending that the reality is too glamorous, or it's, you know, I don't like hiding the truth. You know, when I like reflecting things the way they are, you know, and expressing myself honestly, you know, including joy, grief, sadness, happiness. I don't avoid any emotions. And when I release my music, I always put all of the honesty into my music. You know, I don't stick to one side or another side. I always try to combine yin and yang in my music, both black and white. So, and this is how the world is. And this is the beauty of this world. So the album has a lot of low frequencies, heavy bass lines, heavy synths, sometimes distorted guitars on some of the tracks. But at the same time, apart from that and rap lines and some heavier vocals, it also has smooth vocal parts and you know, like soothing vocals, melodies. There are some, you know, love lyrics as well, and peace lyrics and anti-war lyrics, and, you know, different kinds of vibrations that I brought together in this record.
What do you try to tell in this album?
Unity of cultures, unity of nations, world brotherhood, the holistic approach to music when you are just natural in what you do and you express yourself freely. You go beyond music genres, you're not afraid of experimenting and as a result being judged for what you do and how you blend genres, how you can switch from rapping to singing and then to beatboxing and then doing something else. and then, you know, having someone doing dancehall or reggae, you know, singing type, you know, it's always about the experiment. It's always about the flow, moving with the flow. Because for me, music has been always a way of expressing myself freely, what I feel, philosophically, as a soul, you know, and musically as an artist who doesn't follow any cliche, who knows and feels, you know, what is his sound, and who is dedicated to his own experiments and his sound, blending electronic music, hip-hop, reggae, dancehall, shoegaze, distorted guitars, you know, all of these things you can find on my upcoming album, 33 Glimpses of the Eternal.
And with them our lives, as above so below, spinning in our orbits. Have we lost our course, running fast but in circles?
You work almost worldwide. A lot of people involved with this album. Please tell us about the feature artist of this album.
Yeah, always so blessed by God to work with different talented individuals, real legends, who have a lot of things to say, just like I do. You know, so all of us so blessed to work with those who are on a mission, just like me. So there are a couple of artists, pretty much like Aura the Prophet is a US-based artist, rapper, who has been there in the game for many years now. He's a conscious, spiritual rapper. And I also have Maze022, who is a resident of Kamani Records, a very talented rapper from Mumbai. And I also have Mahesh Vinayakram. I used to work with him on my first record, Children of the Sun, and now he's on the track with me again. Amazing ethnic singer, worldwide known artist, so blessed to work with him. And now I have Roy Summers, who is also a co-producer on this record, but he also is featured as a singer on one of the tracks as well. He's quite well-known producer in Jamaica, coming from Downsound Records. And also, of course, you know, I have lots of people on Cold World track, Nature Alice, Arcanio Ross, Don Husky, Trigger Finger, of course, Logic from the People's Army. All of the legends. I mean, so blessed to work with all of them. And I have another talented vocalist. She's a Japanese traditional singer. Her name is Mocha. She will be featured on the Teardrop track. And yeah, I mean, just an amazing journey so far.
I've seen a lot of people who are involved with this album, and then I believe they are not in Saskatoon. Those artists, like, who are working with you, and then they're living different countries. So how is it possible actually? We know everything is now we can do it online, but I believe this album is gonna be one of the example for like working together, but not in person. They don't need to attend in person, but I think it's a new creation and then new start. So how you explain that things, and then like what are you thinking about this process?
There are some artists that I know personally. I met them. There are some artists that we've been working together, being friends for many years. There are some that I never met, and we link online. So there is a little bit of everything, to be honest. you know, and it's always a spontaneous act. It's never pre-planned. It just, you know, sometimes things happen in the last minute. You don't know. You know, someone appears on the track and he's a featured artist on your track when you never expected it to happen. You know, so again, you know, music creation is, and album creation is always a very unexpected and unpredictable journey when you don't know what is going to happen next. You know, you just move with the flow. Some people they join you as you go, and just as you said, you know, they're artists uniting Canada, Brazil, Ukraine, India, US, Japan, Jamaica, you know. So I mean, we have extremely talented artists who are there for years and extremely blessed, you know, and they sing in their own languages on the record. You can hear all of those languages: Jamaican Patois, Brazilian Portuguese, Japanese, you know, English, of course. You can hear Ukrainian on the record. I was singing on the original version of Cold World. There was the last chorus is in Ukrainian, so, you know, all kinds of languages, reflections, perceptions, visions are blended into one on this record.
But that of other people, kaleidoscopic images, a broken mirror, a digital needle, all we're in need of.
So it looks like a real international music album, I think, and I know it is like anyone can guess, like there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of hard work, and then like everybody is not present here, so you record your voice, someone make the music, someone mixing it, and then like it's lots of work. So how much time you actually spend for this album? Like how many months or like how many hours you spend for this album?
1 year. I've been working on this album for a bit more than 1 year. I wanted to release it earlier, but I always feel that it's not enough. You know, I'm very critical about my work, and it's never enough for me. You know, no matter how often I go back to it, it's still not enough. So it always could be better, and you know, but I think, you know, with this new record still, I definitely took a new, you know, hopefully a level up. You know, comparing to my previous record, I really, me and my fellow artists, we, you know, put in a lot of work, just as you said, and most definitely, I mean, a lot of work was done online. Then I recorded my vocals, this time being here in Canada, and specifically here in Saskatoon, and of course, you know, some of the final vocals were recorded in Remedy Music Studio, you know, with the help of Clark. Thank you so much, Clark Jamelin, you know, for working with me. Very talented engineer, of course. And yeah, I mean, it's been, you know, just as you said, thanks to online presence and, you know, ability to build those small bridges around the world. This is how we operate, and this is how we make things work. Building our own underground network, you know, because typically artists like us, we are in the underground. What does it mean? It means that we are not in the spotlight, in the main spotlight, along with those trendy artists, because the messages we carry in the music, nobody wants to listen to them. You know, the people want to listen to Taylor Swift, you know, they don't want to listen to what you have to say if you have your own vision, or if you want to uplift the youth, you want to give a good example to the youth, you know. And I try my best, you know. I can assure you that any track you play it's safe to play for the kids. You know, I don't have any explicit content or anything on my tracks. I will never have it. You know, this is my journey as an artist.
Can you describe this album musically and sonically?
A lot of heavy bass lines, rhythmic parts are really tight. I really like the way the synths are done on this album, synthesizers, and some analog synthesizers as well, especially on the first intro track, a massive gradient, you know, arpeggiator and this heavy analog synth playing in the background of the track, you know, keeping you, you know, making you feel, you know, the tension, and at the same time, you know, giving that emotional reflection. And yeah, I mean, you know, guitars, heavy guitars, at the same time a lot of soft melodies here and there. So I guess this album is heavy musically. It's more heavy than my previous album was, but at the same time I think it's even more heavy emotionally than musically.
Alone in this cold world, I needed space. Letting go was so hard, but I needed space. Love myself and move on with my past erased, but I had the world to gain now.
Tell us like how many songs included in this album, and then like like the lyrics is very important things for a song. So, and then you are not do any like popular music or something like that, but every songs you want to tell a story, and then behind this lot of philosophy work. So please tell us about the lyrics. Have specific message you wanted to relay?
Song has a certain message. At the same time, you know, I don't really like when, you know, the song is too overloaded with lyrics, you know, when there are lyrics. I really like when there is still a gap where people can, you know, have their break. You know, they don't want to be overloaded all the time with logic, too much logic information, you know. So that's why I try to speak about things in my songs, but I still give those gaps for the people. They can, you know, exhale and continue listening, right? It's not just about lyrics. It's about the overall energy and atmosphere that you want to create with your music. So messages, every single word, every single track has certain message. Again, going back to the topics of world peace, world unity, unity of nations, unity of religions, unity of spirit, because all of us come from the same source eventually. Unity of languages, because you know, so many different languages on this record. And there are tracks that are anti-war. For example, Lullaby. Lullaby is an anti-war track. There are tracks like Cold World, which is just we talk about Cold World. Unity, global unity track, reflecting on the same struggles that all of us face every day, regardless of the part of the world we are in. And also Heaven's Gate is a spiritual track. When, for example, I really like that track when you accept a person, accept someone the way they are without judging them. And then at the end of the day, when you make that move, you realize that God that we all looking for is inside of that person. And when you look in the eyes of that person, you see your own reflection in that person, you know. And then the chorus says, you know, it just feels like heaven, means it feels like heaven, because when you feel a unity with another human being, this is where God is. In that very spot, God is present. You know, when there's that unity is born, a pure unity. And this is when it feels like heaven, when you start feeling yourself a part of one. And the same as with other tracks. So I have like spiritual tracks, I have more evolutionary kind of tracks, I have more social tracks, anti-war tracks. At the same time, concentrating more on energy instead of overloading with lyrics.
Listen to the story of a raindrop that gleams the heavens, a raindrop that descended to our world from the holy throne, blessing the dimensions.
As a creator, I know every creation is important for you, but still I want to know, like, if you have any like a favorite track in this album. So yeah, so tell us about your favorite tracks on this album.
Personally, my favorite track is Heaven's Gate, of course. You know, I find it to be like a, you know, an outcome of the journey that you go through from the first track to the Heaven's Gate, and then, you know, like you go through the struggles and war and social injustice and you know, and you go through different psychological negative aspects of yourself, and then you end up being liberated. You know, when you reach the Heaven's Gate, eventually you realize that all of the journey was necessary to get to the point where you ended up with this track, you know. So that's why even the tracks, they are in a certain numeric, I would say, you know, list. You know, they are listed in a certain way for a reason. You know, they're not random. They're from 1 to 11. There are 11 tracks. 2 of them are Cold World. One of them is original. Another one is remix. So yeah, I mean, Heaven's Gate, number 1. Number 2 for me is Cold World remix, of course. And number 3, I really like Lullaby and My Zen. I really like My Zen.
I wake up and see a cloudy sky on a rainy day, and I don't wanna come out. My comfort zone is where I wanna be, but a silent whisper is as loud as thunder.
So do you want to add another things like inspiration of artists as a vocalist?
Yeah, I mean, multiple artists. Really like if we take female artists, so we really like Björk. I really like a Ukrainian artist, a female Ukrainian artist, Katya Chili, amazing vocalist. So really it took a lot of inspiration from female vocals specifically, and I really like some of the artists, you know, or typically like got really inspired by artists like DebFX, Andrew Donalds from Enigma, Golden Voice of Enigma, Bob Marley, of course, reggae legend. His energy is just absolutely unique, and the way he managed to unite all the world around himself, pretty much. You know, his contribution is just unbelievable. And of course, the list goes on. The list goes on. Really like Japanese hip hop. I'm really inspired by Japanese hip hop. And yeah, I mean, really like what the artists from People's Army do. All the rappers that belong to People's Army really keep track of what Kamani Records releases. Amazing artists. So yeah, there are many people. Chino Marino from Deftones, I really like his way of experimenting, and you know, he definitely had also a huge impact on me musically, not philosophically, of course. So yeah, I mean, lots of different artists, lots of music out there.
Life can be defined by a moment in the day. Life will pass in an instant, and samsara will turn once again. Take a look in the sky, we're like those clouds just passing by as world travelers.
Working with Remedy Music and Kamani Records for local and global distribution.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, received lots of support from Remedy Music, from Christine and Clark here in Saskatoon and overall in Canada. You know, with the studio, with their like mentorship, and you know, they've been here with me all the time, on a spot, you know, supporting me, and they've been, you know, really helping me with this record, believing in me and supporting me and resonating with my messages. And I really appreciate the input Christine put in while I was in the process of making this record, and of course, you know, the taking the efforts of Clark, you know, Gamelin, who just you know, he put in so much work and mixing and mastering, and specifically mastering the final versions of the tracks. So I'm really grateful, you know. Remedy Music has been providing this space for me to express myself here locally. But, you know, at the same time, talking about Kamani, guys from Kamani Records, Paul Barrett specifically, like, you know, again, on a more global level, bridging continents, you know, extremely grateful to have a chance to work with those guys and, you know, to push my art, my artistry a bit further globally, and, you know, share some positive messages around the world. And of course, you know, keep growing, you know, they have the chance to grow together and develop, and musically and artistically and individually as a human being as well. You know, very grateful for this chance and support that Paul Barrett from Kamani Records has been providing as well. You know, all of those people's input is just unbelievably important, and very dear to my heart as well. So extremely grateful. Every single day I feel blessed.
After releasing this album, what is your next plan?
Only God knows. I mean, more music, hopefully. You know, if you know, if God blesses me with good health and many more years of life, and of course more music, more conscious music, more experiments with genres, blending genres, fusing different genres, sharing more messages, more depth in my music, and I guess more vocal experiments, you know, more guitars, more instruments, involving more instruments in my shows as well. I guess electric guitars, you know, looking forward to picking up electric guitar to bring some more distortion to my shows. And yeah, I mean, who knows, you know, I never know what I'm going to be doing next moment, and I never know what the future holds. So, but I definitely know that I will never stop experimenting and, you know, exploring new horizons musically, artistically, lyrically. I don't know. You know, who knows?
Hope for the best for you, and then we want to enjoy your music, we want to feel your music, but your music, it's not like the element of enjoyment. The music, it's kind of a language of our soul, like whatever, like our inner feelings, inner mind. So we hope more music from you. And then finally, could you please tell anything for your audience or your teammate or any others who are watching your interview, say something as like final words?
Yeah, a couple of things. First, I would like to shout out to Christine, Johnston, Clark Gamelin, Paul Barrett, Shantanu Pujari, Don Husky, Triggerfinger, Roy Summers, Arcanuras, Logic, People's Army, everyone who participated in this record. Really, really grateful, extremely grateful for the chance to work with all of you in terms of production, in terms of engineering, collaborating with you guys. Extremely blessed to have this chance. And final words, I guess there is always something to live for, and we have to find that something in our own heart. We have to ask ourselves a question, why we live. What is the purpose? Why we're in this world? There is so much more to this world, than just chasing money, cars, fame, mansions, golden chains. But at the end of the day, we're gonna leave all of that. We will leave all of these things here. We will never take all of these things with us. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the true value? And why don't we make something meaningful and create something meaningful right here and now? Especially if we have the resource for that. So once again, let's concentrate on unity. Let's concentrate on hard work. And let's not forget that we're here to be happy at the same time, and be thankful and enjoy this life, and help others to enjoy this life with us. So it's pretty easy. Stay faithful to what you believe in, and let's create some magic together. Peace and love.
Alone in this cold world, I needed space. Letting go was so hard, but I needed space. Love myself and move on with my past erased. But I had the world to gain now, yeah.
Cut and clear, drop the to them and never care. Them they doubt, we know them disappear. Trigger make them know a lot of things are come your way. You have to free.